Watson, I'd like to welcome all of you to what I consider the epicenter of motorcycle racing right now as we begin this process of honoring the Kentucky Kid. Not long ago, a couple of weeks ago, I got this really cool letter. I really knew that Nicky was well known, and this gentleman from the United Kingdom wrote this really comforting letter about what a great young man Nicky was. And he sent $25 in American money. He said, I don't know if that's going to help much, but we loved him and we want to make sure that he knows it. So it wasn't even in euros. We didn't even have to do anything with it, So this is a little special thing for the family. This has been a process been going on for a bit. And when we finally got going to it, if y'all would just bear with me just a second, I'd like to read to you the names of all the people in the city of Owensboro that had a hand in doing this project. They all come from public works departments, and the street department: Kevin DeRosset, Gene Hamilton, Steve Bickett, Chris Millay, Todd Martin, Mark Pereira, Keith Morris, James Masterson, Jacob Troglin. From engineering, Kevin Simons, Chad Clark. Grounds, Adam Wright, Chuck Johnson, Chris Wink, Jonathan Cook, Marvin Emmons, John Nance, Jacob Bishop, Kevin Morris, Sarah Cockrell, Benny Kaufman, and from buildings, Jeff Tong, Joe Welsh, Greg Kelly, and Alan Tanner. And if you would please give these guys a round of applause. And I don't know where he is. Wayne Shelton, is he here somewhere? Is he hiding? He's the leader of that pack. And Wayne was in contact with the Haydens, and he did a tremendous job of keeping this project going. I'm going to jump off the script every now and then, so at this time I'd like to introduce a friend of mine, Cooper Hayden.
Folks, I want to thank Mr. Mayor and the Hayden family for this opportunity to make a brief announcement on behalf of the Kentucky Motorsports Hall of Fame. I am Cooper Hayden. I am a board member of the Hall of Fame's Board of Directors. And the 2018 class has been determined. The identities will be revealed pretty soon to the media. But we wanted to take this opportunity, if we could, to make an early announcement that Nicky is going to join his mom and dad in the Hall of Fame. We will have the induction ceremony in first weekend of April, first Saturday. It's been that way in previous years, and the date is the 3rd, November the 3rd. The ceremony is open to the public. It's free of charge, and all of you are invited to join us and celebrate Nicky going into the Hall of Fame. And in conclusion, I want to mention that be on the watch for this press release as it names all of this class of 2018. Owensboro is heavily represented in this year's class. They have made our state and our community with much respect and honor, and we just want to be aware of that so that when it does come, you'll be amazed. Owensboro is an amazing place. It has generated so much contribution to the national and the international arena of motorsports. And Owensboro itself the national and international motorsports industry is phenomenal. Owensboro rocks.
Yeah.
So I want to thank Mr. Mayor and the Hayden family for this opportunity to share this good news with all of us, and we hope to see you in November. Many thanks.
How about that, Kurt? That's some good news phone stuff there, isn't it? Next, I would like to invite Suzanne Miles, our state representative from for Owensboro, and she's also Congressman Brett Guthrie's field rep, and if Tommy and family would like to come forward, she has a presentation.
Thank you for allowing us to be here today. I don't know how many of you all saw the Hayden boys whenever they were on Jay Leno several years ago, whenever they first... I have to admit, I've grown up around your cousins, the Kamoffs, and I was a little nervous whenever they were going to be on the Jay Leno show. But I was so impressed and so amazed and so proud of these young men whenever they got on there. They were so polite and so fun, and they were what Kentucky's all about, and we appreciate that so much. Congressman Guthrie on January 29th of 2017 did a congressional record, and so it is in permanent national history in memory of Nicky, and we appreciate you all for so much on several different categories. Today I'd like to present a flag from the governor flown over the Capitol this Wednesday in honor of this celebration this weekend. So I'd like to present that to Tommy on behalf of the entire family, and we appreciate you all so much. Thank you all for being you.
Okay, at this time I'd like to introduce a young man who needs no introduction, but he will, I beg your pardon. First I'm going to have comments from the creator of this sculpture, Mr. George Lundeen.
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing I'd like to tell you is as we were driving this sculpture out here from Colorado, we had him all wrapped up, and we thought we had him wrapped up pretty well, but we didn't have the number on the motorcycle wrapped up. So as we would drive down Interstate 70 about every 10 minutes and give us a big thumbs up and lift the words, "That's Nicky Hayden." Now, what I'd like to do first is thank the Owensboro Museum of Fine Art for their help in hooking me up with Jackie and Tommy and the Hayden family so that we could create this whole piece. Now, this piece takes about 2,000 to 3,000 hours of man hours to do this, and women hours. We made it in Loveland, Colorado, and we have a couple of the guys here. My son Warner's here, and Gary Cole that helped me build the statue. And I'd like to thank them for being here today. But I'd also like to thank the Hayden family, because I've never worked with a bunch of clients that helped us so much throughout the whole process. In fact, when we put the final color on the piece, I called up Tommy and said, "What do you think of it? Don't you think it's great?" He said, "Well, it's pretty good." And so we talked about it, and after a couple days of reworking it, by golly, he was right. It looked a lot better. So when we're all finished with this and we unveil it, I certainly hope that you people in Owensboro love it. I grew up in a small town like this, so I can really appreciate what a wonderful place this is to be from. So thank you very much.
Now at this time I'd like to introduce the family representative. He said he drew the short straw, so Mr. Tommy Hayden.
Thanks everyone for coming. This event and this sculpture means a great deal to our family. We started kicking around this idea, this project last summer, and to be here today with the finished project is really special. There were many, many people involved from start to finish, and I'd like to thank all of them who contributed, and name a few in particular. Mayor Watson, thank you for your support and belief in this project from day one. Without you, this wouldn't have happened. I'd like to also thank everyone from City Hall that worked with the mayor. They were also a big part of this project. As the mayor spoke before, I would definitely like to thank Wayne Shelton and every single person from the Public Works Department that had a hand in this project. I was down here nearly every day watching the site come together, and it was clear that everyone involved was taking great pride in this project and wanted it to be perfect. So thank you. You just heard from George. I would like to thank him and his staff, everyone in his studio in Loveland, Colorado. They're some of the most talented people I've ever ran across. I got the pleasure of visiting them as the sculpture was in the final stage of the clay mold, and detail and personal pride that they put in this as well for all the extra effort, and you made this perfect. I'd like to thank Linda at Owensboro Monument for all the effort she put into creating the granite base that the sculpture sits on. It could have not turned out any better also. Next, we have a couple presentations we would like to make from the Nicky Hayden Memorial Fund. But before I do that, I'd like to tell a quick story. From the last day I spent with Nicky to help you understand why these types of presentations are so important to our family. It was Sunday afternoon. We were in Imola, Italy, and it was almost the end of what at the time seemed like a disaster of a race weekend. His bike had broke early in the first race. He'd crashed 3 times over the course of the weekend, which I can't remember ever happening before. And his race 2 result was much worse than he expected of himself. He wasn't happy with the current status of his bike. He had been fussing with his team about future development. He was angry, frustrated, disappointed, and clearly down. It was time for him to go to his post-race media debrief. And as we walked out of his race transporter, I stopped at the top of the steps and watched him as he went down the steps. As usual, there was a huge crowd of people waiting for him to come out, hoping to get a photo or maybe an autograph. So he was working his way through the crowd where his ride was waiting for him, and he was almost there. I could see that he noticed a young boy in a wheelchair that was both physically and mentally challenged, that was very happy to see him. I watched him turn back around, work his way back through the crowd, up the steps, in the race transporter, grab a pair of his used knee sliders. For those of you that don't know what those are a prized souvenir for a fan. He returned back through the crowd to the kid in the wheelchair, said a few words, signed the knee sliders, gave them to the kid. Jumped on his scooter, carried on his way to his media debrief. What I saw that Nicky didn't see as he rode off was not only the kid, but both of his parents as well, break into tears and start hugging each other. This was just classic Nicky. No high too high, no low too low. For him to change who he was, what he believed in, or how he lived his life. So on behalf of the Hayden family and in Nicky's honor, we'd like to present a check to Ryan Bibb from the Cliff Hagen Boys Club for $15,000.
Just on behalf of the Cliff Hagen Boys and Girls Club and the Hayden family, it's deep appreciation of what they believe in the youth of this community and the kids that need us the most. And I think that's what Nicky believed in and all his support. And we really appreciate. We're going to use this to buy a new van, to transport new kids at the club, to give them a better future throughout life here in Owensboro and the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you.
We also have a check to present to Kelly May and Heather McCarty for the Davis County Public School System for $5,000.
On behalf of the Davis County Public Schools Family Resource Centers, we would like to thank the Hayden family for their generosity, and this donation will make a difference in the lives of children right here in Owensboro by funding our weekend backpack program, which feeds students for an entire school year. Thank you.
This gift will also enrich children's lives by placing books in the hands of kids that need them. We are honored to be a part of programs serving children in memory of Nicky Hayden. Thank you so much.
So we would like to thank everyone who has supported the activities and events or made donations to the Nicky Hayden Memorial Fund. Our goal is to continue to grow this and keep giving back and touching people just as Nicky would have been doing if he was still here. Now for getting closer to the part you all came to see. At first, like the mayor said, we had been talking about this for some time. Started kicking it around, and we had to ask ourselves if this was something Nicky would really want. He was never looking for a pat on the back or wanted to be treated any differently than normal, especially here in Owensboro. In the years since his death, we've been blown away by the outpouring of support from locals and people from all over the world. We've received countless messages and letters telling us stories about what Nicky meant to them and how he touched their lives. A number of Nicky's fans even suggested that they would love to have a destination to pay respect to their hero. And this statue